Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we love talking about benefits. We are here with Will Brown. He's a City Current partner. He's the managing partner with the Benefits Group. How are you doing, Will?
Oh man, I woke up this morning about a wink in the gun. Does that show you how good I'm feeling? A little wink in the gun action.
Well, hey, you are a City Current partner. We appreciate your partnership and all you do to help us power the good. Let's dive into your world of benefits. And for starters, before we get into the trends and what's going on right now, give us some background on your company so we kind of understand what all you do, but give us some background on the Benefits Group.
Sure. Succinctly, I'll tell you what we do. We help small to mid-sized businesses offer Fortune 500 benefits. We like to make that smaller company feel like and look like $1 million. So we come alongside them and we say, yes, you can offer great benefits. A lot of them don't know that they can. So we show them, yes, and we can do it to where you look like you've got everything else wrapped up and game tight, because those benefits are the first thing a new hire sees. If we make that look good, you're going to look good.
Well, and in a very competitive job market, having good benefits is a huge plus. And like you said, the onboarding process, the convenience, the ease, technology, all of that matters when you talk about being able to retain those employees. And so give us a little bit of your world when you talk about like things like technology and ease and obviously offerings. When you look at the comparison of what the Fortune 500 companies have at their disposal versus being able to offer that to a small to mid-sized business, what does that look like?
Two things that pop out to me are going to be Fortune 500 companies going to have a full team. They're going to have the full suite of HR and benefits people. So the owner is not, or the president or VP, whomever, is not dealing with that. A small business owner typically doesn't offer benefits because they have to learn about it. How am I going to implement it, communicate it? So in us, they have this plug-in team when it comes to benefits. So that's one area. Technology-wise, we give them a platform called Employee Navigator, which is used by a lot of large organizations. It's web-based. It has everything that they would need: benefit summaries, provider link searches, videos. It's glossy. It's got their logo on it. So when new hires come in, you don't have Stan looking through that metal desk for that, wrinkled piece of paper saying, here, fill this out. So they can go online. It automatically notifies them at their waiting period. So those are the two big things. The technology piece is important, but really you have a support team that comes in behind them, will explain the benefits, will help them administer it, train them on the system. That's where we come in as the plug-in in the technology.
How does this play in with when you look at the competitive workplace that we're in with talent?
Yes.
And everyone is fighting for good talent, and it's the effort to attract them and obviously retain them. Talk about why this matters so much.
Wow. I mean, how could it not, right? I mean, if you don't get this and you're a business owner, you're sleeping under a rock, right? Talent is king right now. We know that the job market, there's still jobs being done, not a lot of people to do them. So you do have to be competitive, and benefits is right up there, right? Salary is one thing you control, but benefits are something we can help you control. And it's going to be important for two reasons. And I tell business owners this, you may not think it's important, but even if a new hire does not enroll initially, it still ups your perception. Here's my example. I'll give it to you, Jeremy, and I'll just posit this question. If you walk into company A and their only benefits is a snack machine and they bring in coffee and donuts on Friday, right? Maybe they give you $1 towards a snack machine a week. And you come into this company B, but they've got a full suite of benefits. They've got an enrollment platform. Like it's looking like $1 million. Which one looks like they do everything else better?
Right. Yeah. Company B.
Okay.
Going with Company B.
Company B. So that's where we tell these business owners, act as if. We can help you act as if you're much larger than you are. Still keep that smaller culture that you enjoy. But it's very important in attracting people, because also I will finish on this point here. If you are doing them a favor by offering it, because actually if you don't offer it, they only have one other option, and that's the exchange, healthcare.gov. and that's the high risk pool. It's price exorbitant. So just by offering it, because you are the conduit for the employer sponsored plan, you're doing them a favor. So please consider it.
You bring up a good point with the halo effect of by offering the benefits, the perception is that you do everything else that much better and that you're that much more professional. And so back to that original question of talent attraction and retention, the fact that you're offering it will give you a huge advantage with that halo effect. So I'm glad you bring that up. Talk about trends and what's going on, because you hear a lot that prices are going up. And so what does that mean? What are the trends? What are you seeing on your end?
Absolutely. I will tell you, if you have a current plan, let me make 3 succinct points if I remember to keep it curtailed to that. The first point is this: you're not alone. If you are currently offering benefits and you're seeing renewals that are higher than ever, everyone is. Typically, a high renewal in the past might have been 8 to 15%. I've seen them, Jeremy, from 30% to 199%, which is basically the carrier telling you we don't want you anymore. But what's driving it? There are 3 things that are driving those costs. Typically, it is cost of inflation, first of all. So we're in one of the highest inflationary pieces. So when actuaries underwrite these plans, they look in the future. We know that a cost of a Band-Aid next year, it's going to be more than last year. Secondly, COVID. There were a lot of costs that hit COVID. So one example, because the member is typically not the consumer, the relationship is really between the provider, the doctor, and the carrier. And this is what we educate people on. But when you think you're getting that free COVID test, it's really dinging your plan for $680 some in lab fees. People don't know that. So they don't make these wise choices. And so we ultimately end up paying for it year over year. And then thirdly, also during COVID and tied to it, there were a lot of postponed surgeries, if you remember. And so people now are picking up those surgeries. So they've kind of all converged to raise prices exorbitantly. So you're not alone. What can we do to offset that? There are options. I won't get granular here. That's for a conversation. But I will say, what does it take? It takes a broker with an objective eye and some time. You cannot just have your broker put you on auto renewal, which is easy to do. I'm not going to lie. You're on a plan. Oh, your renewal is 22%. And then they go because they have new groups. They have other renewals. So each year it has to be shopped as if you're new. And a lot of brokers don't do that. So I will say to that point, if you're in a plan and you know you're paying, this is my third point, that you're paying too much and you find it a less expensive plan by talking to us, you do not have to stay with that plan a year. Now, it may mean a network change for your folks, but if you've got 15 people and you can save a couple $1,000s a month, it's worth an extra conversation for you and for them. So those are the trends. Increasing. There are ways to mitigate that through knowing the market and spending some time. And thirdly, you don't have to stay in a plan that's too expensive for you.
And obviously, I mean, everything you're talking about, that's where you come in and really are the guide and can help them. What's maybe 1 or 2 tips for the company to put themselves in the best position to really help you? So when you talk about giving you the best avenue to give them the best option,
yes,
what are the things that companies can do to really empower and equip themselves, but ultimately help you get the best rates for them?
Once they come to us, I like to see an ownership or C-suite that understands the value. Number one, if you don't, and as you are aware, Jeremy, in any sales situation, there's typically 2 main things that have to happen. There has to be a problem, right, that needs to be solved. And then I have to convince you that I'm the solution for that problem. If I have to just convince you I'm the solution for that problem, it's a lot easier than having to convince you that there is a problem. So I like owners that are like, hey, we can't spend a lot of money. And by the way, we're business owners too. So we understand that. We're not just going to show you a high price plan. We know the cost of broccoli. Let me say that. But I like to go to them and say, I like to hear them say to me, I want to do the best for our folks. They're like family. And we see the value of this. So that really helps, because then, Jeremy, that filters down to the communication, right? They don't need to be involved. We do most of the work except in helping us wrangle the employees, communicate, and giving us a platform to drive the process along. We deal with a lot of companies that are in the, let's say, logistics space, and they're going and they're very frazzled. And I understand that about entrepreneurs, but if you don't give it the time, at least for, a couple of weeks, and then you don't have to touch it mainly all year. But if you don't do that, then it's inherent problems. Missed deadlines, cards are late. So that's the two things we look for. Please understand the value. And then secondly, be involved in driving that value to your employees, communicating it,
Outside of technology and the innovations going on, to be able to make things easier and quicker and all of that on the technology side, are there any innovations or big trends that you think, hey, these are things that really are exciting as an opportunity for, obviously for you, but for ultimately your clients? Are there any sort of innovations in the space that you think, wow, these are actually really cool things that could lead to opportunities?
I would say there are three things that can help us manage costs. They're not, some of them are relatively new. The first one is a level funded plan. I'm not going to get into the granular, but about 85% of our groups are on level funded. And basically that's, it works the same as insurance that you're used to. A member hands a card, they get coverage. No difference there. It's what goes on behind the scenes and how it's structured. Saves our clients on average 25 to 40% premiums, and they have a chance to get a refund of those premiums back if they make wise decisions like we spoke of earlier. So that's good. Level funded is a really good thing for small and mid-size. Secondly, there's something called limited benefit copay plans. And limited benefit copay plans are simply defined benefits. So instead of giving somebody, maybe you have a 28-year-old, 27-year-old newly adulting, that's a portion of your populace. They don't need the full, unlimited major medical. They don't think they need anything, but we know they need something. So there is a product that says, we'll give you a defined amount, 3 visits to the PCP, 1 visit to the ER, 3 nights in the hospital. You get the idea. And for each of those are a copay. So we give them a sliver. We manage the cost because we know our risk, we limit our risk, and it's translated into premium. So that's something. The third thing is something called reference-based pricing. That is fairly new. About 25% of the cost of a premium most times are the network access fees. So I won't call out all the carriers, but you know what a network is. You have to pay to access those, right? So with a reference-based, it uses a no network option. And we explain that to them, but there are cost savings there. And I think those are the main. I will add a fourth thing that we do, knowing what it goes back to making a wise decision. Anybody listening to this, you affect your plan. You don't think so, but next year you will. So when they offer you that $100 bottle of Motrin, which you don't know it's $100, and you're like, shoot, I pay $400 a month for this insurance, I'm getting my Motrin, don't take it. Because it's going to ding your plan and you're going to end up paying for that bottle of Motrin 5 times over. So I say that tongue in cheek, we educate people on how to make wise decisions. We have a pamphlet on where to go, GoodRx, and some other tools to help them stay off their plan and use it for what it's meant for, the major stuff, and still get care that they need. Okay.
Well, and I mean, knowledge is power. And I think, you're able to dive into the minutia and offer all these different examples. I mean, right off the cuff, it's like, that is extremely helpful. What would you want on the employee side? And I'm thinking things like, the savings accounts and those, like, what would you want an employee to know? And obviously, I mean, you kind of alluded to it on making wise decisions that ultimately will impact the dinging of the bottom line. But what would you want employees to know just based on either things that always come up as, frequently asked questions or just something you want them all to know?
Okay, perfect. Thank you for asking that. There's 2 things that come to mind right away. When you're picking your plan, whether it's through us or whomever, look at copays first. They're the biggest driver of premium typically because they affect utilization. What I mean is if I put $15 between you and a provider, people are more apt to go, right? I'm not feeling well, I'll go, it's $15. Carriers know that, right? So that cost to visit the provider is really more than $15. So it drives up the premium. Here's my example, Jeremy. If you go in with a copay plan, meaning it's defined, it's built in, and you pay $30 copay, I go in with the plan that doesn't have a copay. I still get the network discount. People forget about that. We're both on United Healthcare, let's say. You pay 30, I get the UHC rate of 60, I paid $30 more than you. But if I go twice a year, I spend $60 more in copays, but you're paying $50 more a month in premium, and you have a higher out-of-pocket maximum than I do. That's number two. I want to tell employees that when you're looking at your plan, there's 4 things you want to look at. Copays, which we talked about. Now, if you're a family of 6 and you go all the time, look at the copays. Your deductible, your co-insurance, but your out-of-pocket maximum. That is the number that people avoid. They're like, oh, I have a $1,500 deductible before they start splitting the bill. But your out-of-pocket maximum may be $8,300, which means in any one year, you're responsible for $8,300, right? But what if I have a deductible that's $2,000? So it's a little higher that I have to meet before they start splitting the bill, but my out-of-pocket maximum is only $5,000 and no copay. Who has the better plan? That's what I want them to do the cost benefit on. You pay sometimes for things you do not use, and they build them in there. And if you have 2 options or whatever, you may do a cost benefit or call me and I'll help you. I really will, even if you're not with us. You may have to listen to my dad joke. You may have to listen to my dad jokes and laugh at my own jokes, but you'll at least get an earful of good info too.
Yeah, absolutely. This is extremely helpful. So wrap up with your contact information, because obviously, wealth of information for companies. And like you said, even just helping employees, but obviously for everything you're doing, where do we go to access you and your team and learn more?
Sure. I'm going to give you just 2 pieces of information, because if people are driving or listening, it's hard to remember, but will@benefits.place. There is no .com. .place is the extension. So it's will@benefits.place as an email, or just go to our site, because there you can click to call us. You can click the email. You can schedule an appointment. It's got all that. And it's thebenefits.group, GROUP. You see, I like those little vanity extensions, right? Thebenefits.group. so that's an insight into our personality. No boring .coms here, right? So thebenefits, plural, .group.
Well, Will, greatly appreciate everything you do and for sharing your expertise. We appreciate it. Thank you for being a Citi Current partner as well and coming on the show.
Power of the good.